day two of Ace Magashule's bid to overturn his suspension as the ANC Secretary-General. He was suspended in May after refusing to step aside in line with the party's decisions. Magashule is charged with fraud and corruption related to a failed Free State asbestos project. Let's go to eNCA's Siphamandla Goke, who's following the court proceedings today. And Siphamandla, what has been happening in court today? We've been hearing the response to what Ace Magashule put forward in his arguments.
Indeed. So from the morning, Ace Magashule's legal team had to basically put forward some of the points that they did not put forward during their submissions yesterday. So the better part of the morning belonged to Ace Magashule's legal team, basically tying up some few loose ends here and there and ensuring that they wrap up their submissions. There were outstanding submissions and some few points that they wanted to make. At the center of it all is that contentious issue about the step-aside rule or resolutions of the ANC and the guidelines to implement that. But after that, of course, the better part of the day now belongs to the respondents. Those would be the President of the African National Congress, Cyril Ramaphosa, the Deputy Secretary-General of the ANC, Jesse Duarte, and the African National Congress itself. There are three respondents in this matter. So now what is happening currently, the proceedings are at a stage whereby the legal team representing the ANC, that is Vemtrenkrov, is arguing, basically responding to what Ace Magashule has been saying. So at the center of the ANC's argument is the issue about Magashule's claims that, he shouldn't have been suspended because he is innocent until proven otherwise by a court of law. He is challenging the step-aside rule and the implementation of that, saying it is in conflict with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, which says anyone is innocent until proven otherwise by a court of law. But the ANC legal team is arguing that, well, there seems to be a misplaced presumption of innocence in this regard because that has got to do with criminal matters. Here, the ANC exercised its right of suspending its member who was asked to step aside and remained defiant, so therefore he had to be suspended. They are saying this is just a civil matter. It's not a criminal matter. It's got nothing to do with whether one is innocent or guilty. They are dealing with this matter on a civil basis. It's got nothing to do with criminality. That criminal case is proceeding and it will be dealt with by a court of law. So the ANC was just applying its own constitution, its own rules and guidelines. Let's listen to Vemtrenkrov arguing that point.
The step-aside rule, because the main plank of Mr. Magashule's attack was that the NEC had not given valid effect to the step-aside rule because it had narrowed down the rule. Now, and the essential contention there is that the step-aside rule under the conference resolutions was a broad rule, and the NEC has unlawfully narrowed it down. Now, we will, and let me say, that argument as to what did the conference resolutions require on the one hand and how has it been narrowed down on the other, that argument has also shifted ground, and I will address it. But let me tell you where we are heading in this chapter, and that is this. Our first submission shall be that the NEC didn't narrow down anything, that it gave full and proper effect, that its guidelines give full and proper effect to the conference resolution. So that the starting premise of Mr. Magashule's attack, that the NEC narrowed down the conference resolution, it's simply not correct. It's not correct on the facts. But there is an alternative submission that we make that seems to us in any event to be fatal to Mr. Magashule's attack. And that is that even if the NEC had narrowed down the conference resolution, then its guidelines are still valid as far as they go, because nobody has suggested that the guidelines have go beyond the perimeters or beyond the scope of the conference resolutions. The presumption of innocence is a constitutional right, but it is a right entrenched in Section 35(3)(h). Section 35(3) is a right or a collection of rights conferred on an accused person. In other words, the Section 35(3)(h), read with its preamble, reads as follows: every accused person has a right to a fair trial, which includes the right to be presumed innocent, to remain silent, and not to testify during proceedings. So it is a right which governs the manner in which criminal prosecutions are conducted. It has nothing whatsoever to do with the conduct of disciplinary or civil litigation in any way.
All right, that was eNCA's Siphamandla Goge. Look out for more reports from him from the Gauteng division of the High Court, the local division in Johannesburg there, as those arguments are being made about the ANC's step-aside rule and how it has affected its Secretary-General, its suspended Secretary-General, Ace Magashule.